The Green Scarf Stakeout, Lover's Lane undercover romance and Viv's disguise. I have always felt that the Lover's Lane sequences contain some of the most delicate and dangerous comedy in the entire composite script. Lucy has survived the kitchen apocalypse and the courtroom humiliation. She has been told in effect to moderate her official enthusiasm. And then the department hands her the one assignment that requires her to perform intimacy on demand. Detective Baker needs a woman who can look convincing in a parked car after dark. Officer Carmichael, still slightly drunk on the memory of her badge, accepts. Every time I reach this turn I feel the same mixture of anticipation and protective wincing. The series is about to place Lucy in a situation where her greatest strengths, intensity, physical commitment, absolute sincerity, will become liabilities of the most public kind. The early preparation scenes are rich with the particular awkwardness Ball always brought to manufactured romance. Baker is professional, slightly weary and determined to keep the operation clean. Lucy is nervous, flattered, and already over-identifying with the role. "Pretend you're on a date," he tells her. The instruction is simple, her execution is not. The snuggling is too precise, then too abrupt, then too earnest. When she accidentally activates the siren, the failure is both technical and emotional. The carefully constructed illusion of two lovers collapses into the unmistakable sound of law enforcement. I have always loved the way Ball plays the aftermath, not with simple embarrassment but with the deeper mortification of someone who has failed at an assignment she desperately wanted to succeed in. The first night ends in retreat. Green Scarf Louis, if he was ever present, has been thoroughly warned. What still moves me is Lucy's refusal to accept the failure as final. She constructs an elaborate theory of criminal psychology to justify a second attempt. If the bandit believes the police believe he will not return, then he will return because he believes the police will not. The logic is circular, self-correcting and completely Lucy. Baker's response, "I think you're nuts," is both accurate and insufficient. She has already decided, and because she has decided she will need help. The recruitment of Viv is one of the episode's most touching and most absurd negotiations. Lucy needs someone to play Green Scarf Louis long enough to keep Baker invested in the stakeout. Viv's resistance is immediate and articulate. She is not rubbing her hind legs together to make cricket noises. She is not interested in being arrested in the service of Lucy's professional redemption. And yet, as always, she eventually agrees. The owl signal hoo-hoo is chosen with the solemnity of a secret wartime code. I find myself moved every time by the ease with which these two women slip back into conspiracy. The friendship that was strained by the ticket book is now being asked to support an undercover operation involving a green scarf, a trench coat, and the risk of genuine police fire. They accept the terms without sentimentality. The boys are no longer the reason. Lucy's need to succeed is reason enough. The second night in Lover's Lane is a masterpiece of overlapping deceptions. Lucy and Baker resume their positions. The romantic pretense is even more strained than before. Then Viv appears scarfed and determined, delivering her owl call with the commitment of a woman who has decided that if she is going to participate in madness, she will do it properly. Baker's response is immediate and physical. He moves to intercept. Lucy's panic is instantaneous. The careful plan Viv shows herself. Gives the signal and disappears. Collapses under the weight of real police training and real adrenaline. And then the actual Green Scarf Louis arrives. The presence of the real bandit turns the sequence from controlled farce into something closer to controlled chaos. There are now two green scarves in the same dark road. There are guns, real and implied. There are conflicting loyalties and impossible explanations. Ball's physical work in these minutes is extraordinary. She must convey terror for Viv's safety, determination to protect the operation, and the rising awareness that she has created a situation in which the people she cares about are in genuine danger. When the real bandit confronts her and demands the mink and the diamonds, the comic props of the police trap become suddenly terribly relevant. The jewelry was never hers. The fur was never hers. She is holding the evidence of a trap that has just caught the wrong combination of people. The handcuff sequence that follows is pure Ball invention under pressure. In an attempt to demonstrate a clever arrest technique, she manages to lock herself to the steering wheel. The image is already perfect. Officer Carmichael, the eager instrument of law, immobilized by her own demonstration. When the real bandit uses the moment to complete his robbery, the defeat is absolute and strangely poignant. She has been outmaneuvered by the very criminal she was supposed to catch. And she has done it while attached to her own vehicle. The later arrival of the backup unit and the eventual capture feel almost secondary. The true comic climax has already occurred in the dark, with the sound of the handcuffs closing and the realization that the plan has consumed its own author. I have always felt that these Lover's Lane scenes carry a quiet emotional complexity that exceeds their surface farce. Lucy wants to be taken seriously as an officer. The assignment offers her that seriousness, then immediately requires her to perform a version of femininity that undercuts it. The snuggling, the soft conversation, the simulated romance, all of it is necessary, and all of it places her in a role that feels older and more familiar than the badge. Ball plays the tension without resolving it. She is both the professional and the woman pretending to be on a date. The two identities chafe against each other and the comedy lives in the friction. Viv's participation deepens the texture. She is not a trained officer. She is a friend performing a dangerous favor. Her green scarf disguise is both loyal and resentful, both effective and chaotic. When she is nearly arrested by the very man she is supposed to be helping, the cost of the favor becomes tangible. The series rarely allows the consequences of Lucy's schemes to fall so directly on Viv's body. That it does so here gives the sequence a weight that lingers after the laughter. As the real bandit is finally taken into custody and the various deceptions are untangled, Lucy is left with a complicated victory. She has participated in a successful operation. She has also created most of the confusion that made the operation nearly fail. Baker's closing acknowledgement of her contribution is generous and slightly wary. She has been useful. She has also been exhausting. The balance feels true to every previous professional entanglement she has survived. I watch these scenes with the same mixture of laughter and low-grade anxiety I have brought to them for decades. Lover's Lane After Dark is a space of vulnerability even without criminals. Adding a police stakeout, a false bandit, a real bandit, and Lucy's particular genius for complication turns it into a pressure cooker of competing performances. Ball moves through it with the full force of her physical intelligence, never protecting herself from the ridiculous. Never abandoning the underlying desire to be seen as competent. The green scarf becomes another in the long line of objects: stretch pants, camp, aprons, ticket books that Lucy presses into service in the hope that this time the world will cooperate. It does not fully. But the friendship holds. The arrest is made. And Officer Carmichael, still slightly tangled in the residue of her own plans, steps out of the dark road with another story that only she could have generated. I remain as ever grateful to have been watching.